All right, good day. It is snowing here a little bit, a nuisance snow. Nothing bad, but I don't want to pull this out completely. I don't have lights installed in here yet, so I can't really do a closed garage door thing. So I opened up one door over there. And I wanted to show you a little bit more around this car, just so you can see how amazing it is. It's super clean. See your taillights. You see the surrounds around these taillights. These wear, with age, any of this stuff would have to be redone, recoated. This bumper trim would wear. And there is your dual tailpipe muffler, the correct one, the original one. Your power antenna. An unusual feature on these cars was headrests for the back seat outer passengers. That was unusual. This also has, which was kind of unusual as well, a back seat armrest. That was not usual. So someone had asked me in here, a couple people said, oh no, that's velour. No, this is here's like a Palex. This is what they kind of use, a nicer version of what they used on the base model. The LE model, which I have the tan LE, the 85, had a more cushy crushed velour. If you see this right here, it's almost like a pigskin. It's a suede, and it's an unusual kind of fabric for a vehicle. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this on any other car anywhere. It's kind of hard to find if you'd have to replace it. But also these carpets in the back, you'll see this has the same sort of courtesy light and ashtray on the console that my 85 LE, if you watch the videos of it, that has that. See this right here? This is a really thick piled carpet. It's a real plush carpet compared to what is normally on these vehicles. See that suede is also repeated here in the armrest. This was one of two options I'm aware of that were available on these cars. The other one being a sunroof, which this does not have. So I'll show you in here. Gauges are all lit up. I'll get behind the wheel of this. I've been letting it idle a little bit, just connected the battery up on here. Now this is a four-wheel disc brake car. And some younger viewers may say, so what's the big deal? All cars are four-wheel disc brakes. In 1984, very few cars were disc brakes. And a couple years later, you could get analogs to the mix. That's why, it was a big deal. This is a 1993. This has four-wheel disc brakes on this Toyota, and it was a sporty car, and that was an option. This one had four-wheel disc brakes, standard, because it was an upper-level performance vehicle, and it also had the optional anti-lock brake system. In 1990, that was a big deal. In 1990, four-wheel disc brakes were an incredibly big deal in 1984. As crazy as that was. You see these center lights? Those are driving lights, fog lights, call them what you will. That was a very unusual calling card of this car. And they really make it what it is. It's got that very of its time thing. So I'm going to stop this real quick. The hood is popped on here. Well, let me do the inside first, and then I'll stop this. I'm gonna get in here. I'm gonna show you on here this vehicle here, the driver's center. So you see in here right now, it's been running for a few minutes. And you see that? Hood ajar, I just told you. It tells you when these things are going here. So if you look down on here, these are your system check. There's your rear defrogger on and off. That's kind of the same place it would be on an LE or a base model. It was an option on those. Service reminder, system check, English metric. So I push this for systems check. Goes through, shows you all those different things. And then if there's something wrong, at the end, it will stay on that or those. If there's all these things wrong. Security, hood ajar. So, fuel gauge, oil pressure, temperature, volts. If you look on here, this is not the, you're aware of Pontiacs of this era. They were orange backlit. That did not start until 1985. And it went from the whole line of 6,000. They were blue. Now, something tells me in 1983, they had the orange gauges, and I think they might have been lit orange at night. I do not know that. I know there's a couple of people that have these as 83s. I've seen one or two online. I'm going to reach out to them. I'm going to ask that there's a really good forum on Facebook for the 6000s. And I'm curious about that because these cars, they're a little different every year. This TAC was new. This digital cluster was new. I think this was there in 83, and then these were all analog gauges for 1983. You could get because you could get those on a base in 6000. Plus, if you see this on a base 6000 or 6000 LE, this was optional on there. I did not know that till a couple years ago. Now look at this. Look at the 6-digit odometer, which that is kind of unusual on these cars of this era to have that. So, you roll to 100,000, it shows 137, 115. This is an honest 37,115 mile car, has a trip odometer, has a few other idiot lights, check engine, brake, choke, seat belt. So then you get into this, you have the push button. This is a very unusual interface for the HVAC controls. This is standard kind of GM thing. You had your bi-level, which was a unique thing. You could not run AC in any mode. So if you wanted like the defroster and you wanted to run AC like you can on almost every car today, that was kind of a thing of Toyotas. When I got my 92 Toyota, I was blown away by how cool that was. And you could run the AC to get rid of the moisture in the air, not so much to cool yourself down, but to get rid of the moisture in the air. But this is all push button. And let's put it on vent. And it's different. This radio, I think, was unique to the 6000 STE. The faceplate probably shared with something else, maybe a Cadillac or not. But these buttons and everything, very unusual. They had your graphic equalizer. This was one of your top level GM radios of 1984. Probably got that on a Trans Am as well, I would imagine. When you open this up, standard Pontiac fare, the fuse box here, this is your trunk release, so you can pop that. I'm gonna shut this down real quick and show you under the hood, but there's no need to be running it this much. I wanted to get it run a little bit. Now, here's something unusual. I believe in the other STEs, they had a separate toggle for your fog lights. This one is a switch right here. So you turn it off, and you're just regular headlights. You push in like a standard car would. This has power mirrors, which was not standard on. This has the General Motors ubiquitous multi-stock. This is your cruise control, your wipers, and your push to wash feature on there. And that's about it for the inside. I want to show you in the trunk a couple neat little things about this car, and I'll tell you a little bit of the story. I'm starting to do some research on this car, and I'll tell you a few things about it and a few more questions now that I have. So let me shut this down. Okay, before I go back and open the trunk, just look how clean this is. So you get down, there was probably an oil change sticker on here from dealership on here. This was your one thing that came on it from GM, like your data plate, your tire sizes, all that good stuff. This was made in Canada. This made in Canada. The 2G2, one of those denotes Canada built, and I think the other one is the second GM plant of Canada. There's a lot of history of General Motors in Canada when they could start importing cars to the United States, I think starting in '66, it was this really interesting thing. We're in a day we're talking about tariffs and not getting into political stuff, but you know, tariffs were always how we affected things. And at one point, there were not, we could import stuff into Canada. Canada couldn't import stuff into us. And then in '66, they changed that, and then it was more of a free trade like we're used to today. And then these started coming over from, there was 2 different plants in Canada at least. And I gotta make sure I have the right one. I don't wanna misspeak. I'll wrap this video up at the end and I'll have the right thing, because believe my 85 6000 LE came from the same plant. So as we go through, and you see how clean that is. This is a 6000 trunk. So it had, you know, the finish on here, had your chalk markings on this vehicle, so much still preserved. This had an inflator in the back. These were noted for that. And someone asked me the other day in the comment on my one other video, well, do I have this? Yeah, it definitely has it. But this is an 84. It has a little toggle so you could, like, you know, twist that over. But check this out. This has a emergency kit. It is still sealed up. This has a, let's see here. This has some additional pieces in here. A little ice scraper. Probably came in real handy there in Southern California where this car was from. Couple things in here. Look at these light sticks. They're probably long past their shelf life. This was a titled, at least the protective plate and the GM warranty plan, from a Pontiac dealer in El Monte, California. I looked the address up, and it's now a vacant lot. Looks like it's being redeveloped for something else there now. But I was able to find a picture on line of the vehicle, of the dealership, taken in the late 80s, early 90s by a gentleman. And it had the old 50s Chieftain logo from, you know, the Chief Pontiac, which is kind of interesting. And it was kind of like a little decrepit at that time, the sign and everything. However, let me get back to this. So this was in it. I'm like, what is this? What could this be? Another emergency survival kit? And I played around with it, and pardon me. So it is nutritional food bars, 6 packets of drinking water, emergency survival blanket, moist towelettes. All of this was in here, and it's of the time. I don't know if it's 1984 or the gentleman had it. I know he's passed away, so I can't ask him, but it's kind of an interesting thing you find in vehicles. So it's part of the car's story. It stays with the car. Now, this is an 84 brochure for Pontiac, and where the mystery goes on here is Westminster, California. And one of the other reasons I came out here today was to verify my VIN on here. I know I have the right VIN because of the title work and everything. I sent it to Pontiac Historic, and they said one in every several thousand requests they get, they don't have the records for. This car apparently to them was one of those vehicles they don't have the info on. So I wanted to make sure I had the VIN right. And you're like, well, why would I not have the VIN right? Well, on the protection plan, this has a GM protection plan, they had the VIN written differently. They had a 1 in front. 1 would signify US. And I knew that wasn't right. So I double checked my insurance cards that had come with the vehicle and all that stuff, and looked at the bill of sale that I have in here. And it looks like I did submit the right VIN to them. It's just one of those things. So if you write to Pontiac Historic, they'll generally get you a copy of the factory invoice when this car was ordered from Pontiac, when it was shipped, what was on it, the prices, the invoice prices, the holdback, everything that a dealer would have to know how much they paid for it. Now I have that for the 85 LE. And what's really interesting is about this car and the other one. This was about 14.1, maybe about 14.5, depending on how much that suede interior added to the price before destination and everything. That 85 6000 LE with all kind of options, the same engine, but didn't have disc brakes, had wire wheels instead of these aluminum wheels and these 4-wheel disc brakes. But it had the console, a different gauge package, the analog gauge package, less nice, but still nice radio and all of these things. Turns out it was $13,900, which is not a lot of difference in price between a 6000 STE and that LE. And that's why that car is even more of a unicorn. Like this one's condition and everything. But take a look at how clean and everything you get into here, and just nice and just nice. So you go down here, let's open the back doors up, and I mean, look at this. Just a stunningly original vehicle. So I want to show you under the hood. So I'm going to stop the camera real quick and I'm going to show you how clean under hood. And again, there's not a lot of light here, so I do apologize if you can't see what I'm exactly trying to tell you. Okay, the prop rod is inserted here, so no gas struts, which I really don't mind on a car of this age, because when those gas struts give out, they'll take your head off. They really can be a bear. But look, I'm just gonna let the condition of this thing speak for itself. So if you're tuning into this is probably one of your favorite things on here, because you look underneath here and I mean, look at the zinc coating on there. Look how clean these struts were. Look how clean your AC information is on there. Oh, look at that. Look at that smog pump. Now, if you watch my 85 LE videos, you know I have had a hard time finding this. Now, I have one on here. And now that I have the dimensions and I can measure it and I can know exactly what it looks like, where it goes on here, the measure on here, I think I've narrowed it down to what it was used on that was not referenced in that manual. And it's a very common use that I already have the belt. So the belt I got with the grooves on there, I did get the right belt. So I have the correct smog pump here. I have all this lines, I got that new. And this is the same carburetor adjustment, everything. So you have these pieces here. So there's something I have to hook up. So this, my LE does not have this. I'll have to source that line. Pretty easy to do. And I can reverse engineer my 85 LE 6000 by seeing what's on here. But you get in here, look at this. Look at the original fan blade warning sticker. Look at this right here. This is your, people watching this video, you know what Y88 signifies. Y88 is 6000 Special Touring Edition. This is I've not seen too many GMs with this kind of thing under hood. This is very reminiscent of the Mopars of the, the 60s, 70s, those, when you're looking for your data plate and you want to see, it's a 6-pack or it's a real Hemi or, all those things. Diagnosing or decoding all of that is fun. I'll get a picture of that so I can go through. I do have a guy that can kind of help me with some of those codes. But look at this. Look at this underneath. I mean, look how clean it is. When I tell you, I did not go with intentions of actually purchasing this vehicle. I went up to look it over. And if it was nice, I was going to purchase it, maybe make an offer, but it was priced a little outside of what I wanted to spend. Still paid a little bit more than I wanted to spend, but I got a better deal than I thought I was on it. And, you know, and it's going to need a little bit of work. This car, it's had maybe 100 miles in the last 20 some years. So it's bogging down right now. The fuel system needs worked on. You know, the engine fires right up and everything like that's a good sign, but it's going to need a little bit of work. And these are finicky cars. These are always finicky cars. The STEs, the 6000s of the 82 through 84 era were notoriously, they were either right or they weren't. And sometimes they need a little bit of work. But this is a 41-year-old car that has sat for 20 some years. I'm not going to complain because look at that. Just unbelievable. You know, but then you have your thinner. I think this is still the same Pontiac emblem that I use on the 85 LE. Maybe not. Now look at this, it might not be. But this is a thinner, and see how it tapers in. That's a Pontiac styling thing that really works rather than it being, you know, those being parallel lines. They go into a point and kind of complement the badge. Have the blue plates with the yellow. No, you know, it's a blue plate California car originally, and it's kind of neat. It's an LA car. My 57 Chrysler was a Fontana car, but spent time after that in Los Angeles. So I'm gonna have to go in and take a look at, there's a date code stamp on here, 84. I plan on getting out to California this summer, and I do want to check out Fontana. I want to check out El Monte. I want to check out Cypress, where this car was for a number of years, its whole life. You know, it's kind of fun to see, you know, where your car lived. It's kind of the story. My other cars, the ones that were in my family, they lived up here and still do. But, you know, knowing where in Oregon this was from, state of Washington, Broncos from Oregon, or where this lived a lot of places, which is kind of cool. But I'm in contact with the owner of this vehicle, so I can ask questions. I've kind of asked all the questions without being too nerdy and like, but it's, you know, it's kind of nice to know the stories of your cars. This one, I don't know if there's anyone to ask, so I got to do my detective work. So just wanted to kind of give you a little bit more of a close look of this car, how clean it is. I mean, wow. I think there's two cracks in here, 1, 2 in this, but it's not worth replacing it. It's not worth it. You know, it's so clean. It's so nice. You cannot, you can't fake a car this nice. To restore this car to the level it is at, and I've seen a lot of cars. I mean, look, this is, before I bought this was the nicest car I had ever had out of the box. This one is now as nice, but it took a little bit of tweaking here or there, not to damn it or anything like that. This is an original car, beautiful car, but it's not perfect. And what I mean by this, I mean, these two cars are national champions in the Antique Automobile Club of America. I will at some point compete with this one. It might not be this year. I don't know. I have the 85 I think I want to take out first. But this, when I say this is original paint, clear coated over the cinnamon glow, which these were not clear coat from the factory. That didn't come about for a few more years. But this is original paint, and this is like not, it's patina in here. There's no rust on here, but it's not perfect. But if I go in and I go and try to redo this, where do you stop? And then pretty soon you lose. What's so cool about this vehicle is that it's original, it's honest, it's sweet. And all of these cars, this one took a little bit of work to get it there. The 85 Gold LE will take a little bit of work, but I'm not talking like major body work or anything. I don't do rust repair. I don't do any of that kind of stuff. But this one out of the box and this one, how do cars survive like this? I'm thankful they do, and I'm thankful I'm able to get my hands on them, but this is where when I looked at this and I saw how nice it was and looked on it, and I was like, God darn it, I'm gonna make an offer on the vehicle. And I'm glad I did. And I thought it was really good, the guy that sold it, Chuck, is a really nice guy, and we were chatted a lot. And he's like, I knew someone would come along who knew what this car was. We didn't really, I didn't really appreciate the significance of the car, but I did know the condition. And that's one of those things. Like, even if you're not a Pontiac guy, you can appreciate the condition of something like this. Same with this, same with this, same with that. That's what I go for. I go for original cars or close to original cars that I can make even nicer. So, with that being said, I just really, I appreciate you spending the time. If you've gotten through this whole video, thank you very much. I wanted to do a deeper dive into this and have some fun with this, and keep a lookout for it. If I get this out to a show this year, it's probably going to be the GM Nationals in Carlisle. I already have the 85 book, the gold, two-tone gold LE. Look at my other videos if you haven't seen those. And that's a little update on that. I'm putting all new exhaust on it, so I think I should have all the parts delivered for it, and then I can take them up early, like Monday or Tuesday. I should get the last piece. I think I need a new catalytic converter. You can get the correct ones for them too. And so I'll take it up there. They're gonna detail the undercarriage for me. No rust on the undercarriage. Put new tank straps. That was the only part I didn't like. The tank straps were a little crusty. The tank was fine. Everything around it was fine. They're gonna clean that up and really make it look like this did when I picked it up. So anyway, thank you so much. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, share it, anything. Reach out to me, ask questions. Thanks for the person who said about the kit today, because it forced me to go in there and look at it, and it was actually cooler than I thought because it was not used. So have a great day, and stay tuned.